Good.
I'm good.
Good. Okay. I'm excited for this one. This one's kind of near and dear to our heart here at Barnes. Obviously, all the guys in Utah. We're going to talk about, well, I guess, Greg, you should probably kind of introduce this podcast.
Yeah, I'll kind of help co-host this one.
Yeah.
So we've got Gabe Patterson here with UCOA.
Yep.
And I'll let him explain what the organization is.
Yep.
But Utah local organization, and it's something that Barnes, has been fortunate to be able to participate a little bit in.
Right.
But really, it's just we wanted to be able to share the story, let Gabe share his story, what the organization does, the neat things they do, the families and the individuals that they've been able to help. And we're all hunters. We understand kind of, I think it's maybe hard sometimes for non-hunters to fully grasp it.
Yeah.
But there is the emotional aspect of it, right? It means something to us all. It's part of our lifestyle. And I think it's cool, and Gabe can speak to this better than me, but it's pretty neat what this organization has done to help people with the outdoors, with hunting, to bring something, to kind of up their spirits and help them have a good experience with the hard times they've gone through. So we're excited to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, so we have Gabe Patterson, Utah Conservation Officer, and we also have Raylan here. That is, how long have you been working for Barnes?
13 years.
13 years. Yep. And your job here is?
Currently, I'm the General Production Supervisor.
General Production Supervisor. Perfect. And you were the one that kind of was like, hey, we need to have these guys on the podcast. I think it's really important for us to highlight this, right, as a Utah company and really kind of bring light to UCOA, right?
Yeah, these guys are great, and what they do needs to be shared.
Absolutely. So, Officer Patterson, welcome.
It's good to be here.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
No, not like in a setting like this, but like a RAC meeting or a board meeting. It's kind of a big podcast.
Right. Okay. Right on. Well, I would love to hear a little bit about your story, how you became a conservation officer, and then obviously you can go into the UCOA story as well. That'd be great.
All right, cool. Yeah. So I'm a Utah native.
Yeah.
I've lived here my whole life. I'm 47. I've been a conservation officer for, within a couple weeks, it'll be 20 years.
Wow.
So I grew up in a hunting family.
Yeah.
Back then, you didn't have electronics or anything. And so the only thing that we looked forward to was hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
Was the next hunt. And so growing up doing that in a family like that, my grandpa used to be able to, you'd ask him any day and he could tell you down to the hour of when the deer hunt started the next year. So pretty big culture in my family, the hunting. And so I decided, what's a better job than they give you a truck and say, go out in the mountains and protect wildlife and talk to people and make sure they're following the rules and help them be successful. So started this career and about 20 years ago. And it was funny when I graduated post, my dad's this big guy. He's 6'6", 280 pounds. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
And he's never been a fan of the division. And he's always been vocal about that. And I'm pretty open about it because I think it's funny and I think it's a good story. And he grabs my hand, these big 20-pound hands, and pulls me in, and I'm all badged up, ready to go. Just graduated post, and he goes, "Don't let them change you." I was like, "Yes, sir." Nice. I promise you they won't, Dad. And so he's come around, and I think the division's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the division's doing some great things. I think Utah's really pushing the next level for the Western states as far as management and new opportunities for hunters. And so UCOA started in 1990 officially.
Okay.
And then in my time frame, UCOA has kind of evolved into a bigger organization. Just last year, we did this unification with Division of Natural Resources with Parks and Rec and Outdoor Rec. And so now we are all part of the same organization. We're all Division of Natural Resources, law enforcement. And so we went from essentially 70 officers to about 130, 140 around the state.
I guess before we get too far, right? What does UCOA stand for?
Utah Conservation Officers Association.
There we go. Okay.
And so it's an organization where most of our officers are part of it. We pay into it every month out of our paycheck.
Yep.
and those funds go to helping sponsor fallen officers. We've helped out numerous officers' families throughout the states when an unfortunate tragedy happens and an officer dies on duty or off duty, and the family needs help. We step in and try to help them, because it's a big brotherhood in law enforcement, and you really feel that. And so we've been fortunate to help with that. And then we do a lot of youth hunts. It was something probably about, 14 years ago. I was talking with a CWU owner on the Johnson Mountain Ranch. His name's Bob Thomas. He's a great guy, just barely bought the ranch, and he'd had a lot of law enforcement problems on there, like trespassing, people poaching elk on there, pushing the boundary, because at any time there could be 2,000 elk on his ranch.
Wow.
And so I'm telling him my ideas of the best way to post it and what I would do if I owned it to help,
mitigate
those problems. And so I had an officer, a friend of mine, his brother down in King County had just been killed. He was tracking a suspect that was breaking into homes and stealing rifles and threatening people, and he was in the desert tracking him, and the guy ambushed him and killed him.
Wow.
And so I told him that story, and I said, hey, his daughter is, I think she was like 13 years old, her first deer tag, and she wasn't able to hunt with her dad. She'd drawn the tag, but her dad had passed away before the hunt. And I said, how great would that be to give her an opportunity on a ranch like this to come and have a hunt in memory of her dad? And ever since then, it's evolved. And he says, we're doing it. She can kill the biggest elk on the mountain. And he says, Gabe, I'm serious. I'm not going to back out of this. And every year, about every 2 years, he gives us a $20,000 elk tag. Wow. He says, let's go.
Yeah.
And we take kids out, and we've taken probably 10 out on his ranch since then. And I bet you UCO has done probably close to 110 hunts.
Wow.
And that's so cool. Just around the state, there's other officers up north that do a lot of hunts. And I've set up quite a few hunts this year, and not going to be able to make all of them. So I've got other officers that are going to step up and go and make sure that the hunt's a success and it's safe and the kids have a good time. So that's basically in a nutshell what UCOA is.
Awesome. So, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I think, do you have kids, Gabe?
I do. I've got 4 kids.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've talked before. I mean, I've talked about my kids. I know Raylan's got kids. Dale, you've got, we just talked just recently about hunting with kids, and you talk about stories like that, and it's hard not to get emotional or tied into that, because we know what it's like to be able to have those memories and those opportunities in the field to go hunt with your family. You talked about growing up in the culture of your family, and I think it's pretty neat what you guys are doing to share that and to bring that to people that don't always have that opportunity, or maybe something was taken away from them. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I've always said, if you give sportsmen the opportunity to give back, usually you have to make one call.
Right.
I made one call to Barnes. I've made one call to King's Camo.
Yeah.
I make one call to pretty much anywhere I've ever called. And then a lot of times they're contacting me saying, hey, what can we help you with this year?
Right.
I've got one guy that has donated he's probably cut up 20 animals for people, and he's not rich. He lives in a small house, and he owns his own meat shop, and he calls me he says, Gabe, if you don't bring every one of those kids to me, he says, I'm going to hunt you down. And I'm like, man, you're a good guy.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty neat. It's like I said, law enforcement is a brotherhood. I think sportsmen, when it gets down to it, given the opportunity, it's a brotherhood.
Right.
I mean, we're all family. I mean, you may not feel like that when you're 5 miles in hunting a buck and you see orange on the opposite side or a flashlight, you're like, But when it comes down to it,
right.
We're competitive, but we're a close family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's really cool. I mean, when we started kind of talking about this podcast, I wanted to do more research. I wasn't able to, but at the same time, I feel like that kind of gives me the opportunity to go into it with fresh eyes as the audience is going to go into. So I guess, you kind of hit on a little bit, going on over 100 hunts since this thing has started. I guess tell us some of the stories of, I don't want to go into super detail of how the officer passed or anything like that, but I think it would be kind of cool to hear some of the really cool stories or some of the ones that are super near and dear to your heart of like how you've been able to affect these young person's lives that might have, lost a parent or something like that.
Man,
I'm sure that every single one of them has something, but
they are emotional.
Yeah.
And to pick a couple out, it's pretty tough. But one of the first ones I ever did was for a kid named Ethan Brown. He's out of South Carolina.
Okay.
And he had neurofibromatosis.
So sorry, when you say South Carolina, so I guess that you guys are doing this nationwide. It's not.
He's the only one we've
Okay.
ever brought out of state.
Okay,
and,
got it.
And the reason we did that is because I'd done a hunt on the Johnson Ranch before, and this had been the second hunt. And the ranch owner calls me and says, "Hey, I've got a kid. I had someone reach out to us, and KSL with Adam Meikle, Outdoors with Adam Meikle, comes and films a lot of our hunts, and people see what sportsmen are doing, and they want to get involved, right?
Right.
And so this organization called, and they had a kid that they wanted a sponsor to come out. And he says, "Gabe, I can't make this happen. I was going to take him." He says, "You're the only one I trust to give the keys to the ranch. Can you take him?" So I said, "Get to take a kid hunting? You bet. Let's go." So I grabbed a bunch of officers, and we went down and brought this kid in, and is what neurofibromatosis is what it does. It's tumors that latch on everywhere in your body. And this one latched on to his neurological system. And so he couldn't hear very well. He had a huge hearing aid. He'd have a hard time hearing us right now.
Right.
He walked like he was constantly, for lack of words, he was drunk.
Yeah.
And he had no balance. And so I held his hand the entire hunt, going up and down the sagebrush, through the pine trees and the aspens. And I kept asking him, "Hey, can you hear that elk bugle? Can you hear that elk bugle?" And he's like, "No, I can't." And I've got a mic on so that he can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, about the third or fourth setup, we set up and I had the officers go back. And I said, "You guys go back and call. I'm going to go forward about 150 yards because we're going to have this elk figured this elk was going to have to be within 50, 60 yards for him to make a good shot." And called in a 6-point bull to about 20 yards.
Wow.
And as the bull's coming in, he's bugling. And I go, "Ethan, can you see the bull?" And he goes, "No, but I can hear it." And that, I don't know why, but I get a little emotional every time I think of that, because we take that for granted, what an elk bugling means, to be able to hear that. And if you can't hear that, you don't know what you're missing.
Right.
And it's very special. It's just majestic.
Yeah.
And so when he said that, I had to gather myself, and I looked at his dad and the other officer next to me, and I was like, there's a presence here that's pretty special, and it's not just this hunt. And so that bull come in, and we told him where to aim, and he put the bull down in one shot. And that was the start of an amazing adventure on these hunts that I've had so many. Last year we took a family that they'd lost their dad and their uncle, and their grandpa was on deathbed doorstep because of a CO2 poisoning accident. And it was about 11 months to the date when we took him hunting. And it was the mom's decision to not wait any longer, because I presented her with the idea. And she said, "No, I think they need this. I think you need this." So we took the grandpa who'd lost both of his sons, and we took the boy who'd lost his father and his uncle.
Yeah.
And the boy was the one who called 911 and hauled his grandpa out of the cabin to save his life. And this kid's 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
So we took him on an elk hunt with his grandpa, and they both harvested bulls, and it was just so emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But that emotion, that raw emotion, brings something special to it, right? I mean, you're hooting and hollering, but you're crying at the same time. And it was pretty neat to see that happen. And so it's still stay in contact with that family, and they are some of the most special people to me. I miss them. I mean, I get thinking about them all the time. What a great family. And I'm just excited and blessed to be a part of this adventure,
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's neat. Yeah, and I'll talk to that a little bit. I know, and actually, let's start with Raylan. Why don't you take a couple minutes and just explain kind of your involvement and the piece you've had as far as you've more or less become the kind of go-between, even though it's not necessarily tied to your role at Barnes. But take a minute and kind of explain that.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. We actually met off a dedicated hunter. So I do dedicated hunting, and I got on the website, and I'm kind of a wrench head. I turn wrenches and stuff and play with sleds, and I got on the website, and there ended up being an opportunity to work on a snowmobile. So I called the number. It ended up being Gabe, and so long story short, he brought the sleds up. We got chit-chatting about hunts and what we use, and I gave him a hard time about what bullet he uses, but, we can't all be smart. Just kidding. But, no. So he was talking about that, and I told him I worked here, and he was, really receptive to that and super nice. And then, we just talked and didn't think much about it. And then probably a couple months after, we like sleds, so right there's like a brotherhood too. So we got each other's numbers and was planning on riding. But
I need to cut in real quick because before we started, and I do have to mention when Raylan says he likes sleds, for people that don't know, sleds, that's a snowmobile.
Yeah.
If you're a diehard snowmobiler, it's a sled. And when he says he's into it, that's his thing. They were arguing about Polaris versus Skidoo. We won't get into it on the podcast, but
yeah. So thanks for the correction. Yeah, it's snowmobiles. But yeah, we had each other's numbers, planned on that, and I get a call from him, and I was almost expecting, hey, he wants to go ride, because I think it was about that time. It was early spring, late winter, and he calls and he says, hey, got an opportunity. Do you think the Barnes would be interested in it? I've got this family. The dad is part of the division, but they've had a really rough go. Their daughter had been sick and in and out of the hospital. What was it? It was
she had Crohn's disease.
Yeah, Crohn's disease, an autoimmune disease. And then while she was going through that, he ended up getting, I think I got it wrote down. It's
her brother had got cancer.
Yeah. Hyperlymphoma cancer. Is that right? I don't know the exact cancer, but.
Yeah, I can't remember which. It came from construction dust. He just got off a mission for his religion and worked construction and got some cement dust in his lungs, caused cancer.
But yeah, he explained that to me, and I just instantly kind of was like, this is something we got to help with. And so I knew the organization, he'd explained it really well before that, and I was like, we got to get involved with this. We got to give back. And so I hit up Barnes, and they didn't even question it. They just jumped right on it and said, absolutely, whatever they need, whatever we can do. And it's been a great go since then. We've been involved in a few hunts, and
I think you've given bullets to about 6 hunters.
Yeah.
I think 6 hunters. There wasn't a dry eye in the room, that one.
No, that
was this family had been to the emergency room over 70, 80 times in 1 year.
Wow.
Like emergency room, like they're going to die. Go. Not just doctor visits. And so, and bullets were so hard to come by.
Yeah, that was right during COVID.
That was so hard. And so that was such a blessing.
Yeah, that was right during COVID, and I remembered you'd expressed that how hard it was to get, and I think we actually even just loaded the one cartridge for you because we didn't have it. And so, but yeah, it was an awesome opportunity, and I was glad he thought of us for it. And as I've had a chance to go with him to kind of present some of this stuff, it's always a special feeling. But yeah, when we went up to the one families, Greg came with us, and it was emotional. The mom was super emotional, super grateful though. And that's what's always neat to see is like how appreciative they are of the effort. And sometimes the recipients are in almost shell shock. They don't quite understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But their family around them is just blown away and floored by it. And then as they get kind of back to reality on it, you can just see a change in them. And then I haven't got to go on any of the hunts, but I've watched all the ones that we've been a part of, and it's weird. I have this weird connection that as I watch it, I'm like super happy and proud of those hunters. and their chance that they've had to go out and be successful. And so it's a super cool thing, and I'm glad that we're a part of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Barnes just doesn't give bullets. I think on every one, you guys just did it on a rifle. I think within a month or two ago, for an officer that's going through a really hard time that we're taking on an elk hunt with Hunts for the Brave. He's a veteran and a sergeant right now that's gone through some real traumatic stuff in his life and needs another brotherhood, right? Needs a moment in the mountain hearing those elk bugle. But Barnes, they bring the gun over. We'll mount the scope. We'll develop a load for it, and we'll put the ballistics on the side. And if you can shoot 300-400 yards and have a bullet that performs, we've never lost a bull to a Barnes bullets. I mean, they've been solid. The Johnson Mountain Ranch owner, he uses Barnes, and it's a great bullet. And you don't have to worry about the family eating lead.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool bullet, pretty cool company to be a part of. I mean, here's your gun. We'll put a muzzle brake on it. We'll shoot it for you. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's we're grateful to do it. That's why I look at it. It's been cool to be a part of. I mean, you guys know I've talked plenty of times. I'm a gun guy, and so that's when Raylan, and Greg Christensen and the guys here at Barnes brought this up. Hey, we've got these guns we're going to work on. We're more than happy to just play that small part. But it's cool. That's what I love. So setting up a gun, zeroing it, working up a load. Like I said, we've put muzzle brakes so the kids can shoot them without recoil. And that's what I enjoy. That's my passion. So it's been neat to just have a small part. And I go back to the family you mentioned earlier. It was pretty neat last year because, I didn't know a whole lot going into it. It was Raylan and Greg had mentioned, Greg Christensen, hey, we've got these guns we want to work on. We want you to get it ready, mount a scope, zero it, make sure the ammo works good through it. And I found out who it was, and I was actually come to find out I actually knew the family. So that kind of hit at a whole other level. I had been out of contact with them for quite a while, but the grandpa that you mentioned, we used to do a lot of work for him. Back in the day, my brothers built houses for him. My mom knew the family, knows the kids since they were little. The two brothers that passed away, when they were little kids. And so that just made it this whole other thing for me personally that was just crazy. And it was cool that I got to be there when we went up to King's Camo and, and you guys presented them with those hunts and just our small opportunity to be able to say, here's your dad's gun ready to go. That was tough we all want to act like we're tough. We're hunters, It's like you said, it's pretty neat what you guys are doing.
You guys took that gun, and a lot of times we try to work out to where we can give them a gun. If they need a gun, we try to give them a gun. And like Mule Deer Foundation, Shields, SFW, Ed Farr, lots of people, they'll just donate rifles.
Yeah.
And these aren't like $3,000 rifles. Most of them are Savages type guns, which is fantastic guns. And these kids get these guns and they think they just won the lottery. They are so happy. But I told this kid's mom, I said, do you think he'd like to use his dad's gun? And she emotionally said, yeah. And I said, what caliber is it? And it's a Manly caliber. It's a 7 mag. And I'm like, this is a little kid.
Yeah.
He's little.
Yeah.
Little. And you guys put a muzzle brake on it and tamed it right down. We've got a bull coming in. His grandpa's already harvested bull. We got a bull coming in, nice 6. And we've shot with him when he needs to be within 150 yards.
Yeah.
And the whole family's sitting there, and we've got him hidden. We've hunted the whole morning and called in like 15 bulls, and nothing was just perfect. And all of a sudden on the back, here comes another bull screaming, and he's like going to come and step on the family. And I look over at the kid and the ranch owner, and I go, Bob. Behind us, Bob. And he looks back, and he's like, which one? And I'm like, either. You better shoot this one before it gets to the family. And they whirled, and that kid just made a great shot with his dad's gun.
Yeah.
And the whole family was there to watch it. And it was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, and I think it's neat. Like you said, it's great. And I can only imagine these kids getting a brand new rifle. Like you said, that's just unreal. But to me, I'm a rifleman. Like, we shouldn't be probably sentimental. They're just items,
Yeah.
but they mean something,
Right.
you know? And so just as an outsider looking in on that whole story, it was just, how do you not get excited about that and feel attached to it?
Well, and I mean, we've kind of talked about it on the podcast in the past. We've talked about it with Colby, right? Like, there's something about getting kind of that hand-me-down rifle from your grandpa, your dad, whoever, your uncle, you know, whoever kind of got you into hunting or something like that. So then to kind of do this, especially since his dad wasn't able to be there for that, I'm sure that was crazy emotional. I mean, just you telling these stories to me is just like kind of pulling my heartstrings, and it's like, this is kind of the first time that I've ever heard it. And yeah, it's definitely a really cool thing that you guys are doing. I'm appreciative of it. I'm appreciative that since I've been able to come to Barnes and learn more about this, and glad that our company is able to do things like this. Do you want to talk about some upcoming hunts that you guys have planned for this year? Or
So we've got that. He's a sergeant in Utah for a local law enforcement agency, and he went through some traumatic experiences, and then he also was in the military, and he went through some traumatic experiences there when he was on tour. His close friend reached out to him, his partner reached out to us and told us about him, and so I reached out to so I don't know who reached out to who, but somehow me and I think it's Justin Oliver with I took some notes because there's a lot going on with Hunts for the Brave.
Yeah.
We've done some hunts with those guys. Are awesome. They take vets hunting every year, and we decided, hey, let's team up on this one, and let's make this super special for this guy. And so we surprised him. He's going to go hunt elk on the LaSalle's this in September.
nice.
And so that'll be a good one. You know, like I said, King's Camo, Vortex, Mule Deer Foundation, Shields, all these guys come together and donate stuff for all these hunts.
Yeah.
And so another one we're doing that Raylan was able to come on was a family that they've got a large family, and at least half of them are adopted.
Okay.
And so they have a kid with Hunter syndrome, which is a serious. I mean, that takes your life. That's going to shorten your life.
Yeah.
For sure. And then his brother has cancer.
Wow.
And so got talking with Blake Housley, who has a kid who's in a wheelchair, and has his own kind of little special hunt thing going on. He does a lot of special hunts. And we said, let's team up on this one and make it special. So Dallas Safari Club reached out and says, hey, you want to come and donate it at our banquet? Sure. Yeah, we can do that. And so we go there, and so Big Mountain CWMU is going to give him, I think it's Big Mountain CWMU is going to give him a deer tag, and one of the brothers is going to have an elk tag that's going to be going on at the same time.
Wow.
So they're going to go up there and hunt, and pretty cool kids.
Yeah.
I mean, the one is he's a lot.
Yeah, he's a character.
But I love that kid.
Right.
You just see him, and that kid's so full of life and has so much character.
Yeah.
I can't go on that hunt because I've got some scheduling conflicts, but man, that's going to be a fun one. That one's going to be really cool. And then
That one I'm crossing my fingers. Adam calls me and says, hey, come on this one.
we could probably make something happen. I don't know why we couldn't. Then another one that I just got done setting up is a kid in southern Utah. His friend who runs a taxidermy shop calls me and says, hey, I see that you do a lot of these special hunts with UCOA and stuff. And he says, I've got this kid. He's 17. He comes into my taxidermy shop every week, sometimes every day. And all he talks about is hunting. And he wants to hunt a moose, a buffalo, and he's autistic.
Okay.
And he says the kid texts me like 30 times a day about hunting. And I said, well, has the kid ever had a tag? And he goes, no, they're putting him in, but he's never had a tag. And I go, well, I can get him a deer tag this year. I'm looking for a kid right now. And my oldest son has autism, some high functioning autism. And so that's pretty close to my heart.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to this kid's dad, and it turns out he's from the same community where I'm at. He hasn't been there in 20 years, but that's where he grew up. We got talking about this kid, and he sent him videos and pictures. And so we're going to do a deer hunt on the east side in CWMU, and we're working on how to present it to him sometime this year, maybe at the school or something. We like to make these kids feel special.
Right.
Because a lot of times these kids don't get the attention.
Yeah.
Because it's either a medical or a physical thing that they're going through, which holds them back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Only physically holds them back. They are full of life.
Right.
And so those are the hunts we've got. We've got another elk and I think 2 more deer hunts going on up north.
Wow.
That they're setting up, and I'm not sure exactly. Other officers are setting those ones up, and so that's about the brunt of what we can do this year. I used to do like 15 a year, and it got pretty tough on the
I was
family.
gonna say that's a lot.
The wife asked, I had to be there for my kids too,
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to be better at relying on others to help do this, and they're stepping up and helping out a lot. So,
Nice.
But yeah, that deer elk hunt, that one's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be, watch that show, watch Eagle's show on that one, because you're going to see 2 young kids, and one of them's just got a lot of character. I love that kid.
Right.
I love that kid's one of my favorites.
Nice.
He's a cool kid.
Well, you kind of talked about, it becomes difficult, right? Just because there's so many going on, and obviously for you with time and other people have stepped up. Is there ways that the community can step up, potentially Barnes, fans that are listening or anything like that? Is there any way to like donate or help out or anything there?
Yeah, there's you can go to UtahGameWardens.com. You can donate there. And ironically, one of the hardest things for these hunts, there's 2 things on this hunt they're the hardest things. Finding somebody that wants to hunt,
Yeah.
and that fits the criteria of, being that special person.
Right.
Whether it be a single parent family, through tragedy or through whatever, a veteran, a kid with a disease, or someone just going through a hard time, we need to find those right people, and then we need to find the right tag for them.
Yeah.
And so those are the 2 hardest things to come by. So if you know anybody that needs a hunt, someone that really could use this hunt, reach out to us. And then if you know anybody that has some tags or an opportunity, and a lot of times it's private, because these kids aren't the type that can compete.
Right.
With the
Yeah.
public.
It's got to be kind of in a controlled environment.
Yeah. They've got to have an animal that is, I don't know, patient.
Yeah.
And a lot of times private property has animals that aren't pressured, and they're
Right.
more patient. And so, and donate, our officers, this is all donated. The funds all come from our officers. We all donate every month to UCOA, and we've had people throughout the nation send us checks here and there. And so we're going to be doing, in January in Vernal, we're going to do our first banquet.
Okay.
And we're going to do it with Do Utah, Disabled Outdoorsmen of Utah. And we've done some special things with them in the past. And so we're going to have a banquet. We're going to raffle off rifles. I think we're going to have a few tags from some of these units, some gear, and some dinner. And so if you're looking for a good time and a good cause, put it on your calendar, January 24th in Vernal, the UCOA and Do Utah banquet. I don't know if we've come up with an official name yet for it, but that might be it.
There you go. Well, that sounds like a good
I think
date
we're going to
night.
be at SHOT Show during that time, unfortunately,
Yeah.
to not be able to attend that, because I was already like, all right, let me think.
Yeah. Raylan can probably make it for
Yeah.
us. But
Yeah, I'll make it.
it sounds a lot better than SHOT Show.
It
Tell you
does.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be there than SHOT Show.
Yeah.
But, well, awesome. Anything else that you want to add, Greg?
Just kind of switching gears. Maybe you like to hunt. what do you got personally? Can you fit in any personal hunts this year?
Yeah, so I go to an undisclosed location every year, and I go on about 22 miles on my horses and hunt elk for a week in Utah to get away from people and the phone and to get back to my roots and go elk hunt with a bow. So I've got that, and then I've got I'm a dedicated hunter in my second year, and last year didn't see a deer that fit the mark for me at that time, and so I've got a deer tag. My youngest boy's got his first rifle tag. He had
Cool.
We bought an over-the-counter youth hunt, which is an awesome opportunity. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't have that opportunity. He drew a rifle tag, and he can hunt all 4 hunts this year, and last year had a leftover youth archery tag, and he was able to harvest his first deer with that, and so he's pretty excited this year. He says we're gonna go after a little bit bigger buck. I go, you can shoot whatever you want.
Yeah.
I go, if you want to shoot it, then we'll go after it. And so, it's the hunts. Maybe taking my kids. I don't know. I've got a friend that has some opportunity at shooting some pigs. We've done that a couple years ago, and they like that.
Yeah, that's fun.
So
Yeah, that's always a good kids hunt for sure.
Yeah,
it's
really
pretty
good.
fun. So but that's it. Last year I had an archery antelope tag, and I killed a nice antelope. Spot and stalk. If you ever want to have a hard, fun hunt, go spot and stalk those speed goats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
It is a lot of fun. I've been able to do that. Well, I've been successful one time. I've definitely spot and spooked a lot of them.
I'm not a big archery hunter, but I've done enough of it. And obviously, we're a bull and ammo company, so archery isn't our thing, but archery antelope's always been on my list.
Yeah,
It looks
even
like a blast.
rifle antelope. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Antelope hunting's great.
Yeah, that is always one of my favorite things to do every single year if I can get a tag. So I live in Montana, so I'm a little, what do you want to call it? Lucky, spoiled.
We like to
whatever.
joke a lot. Utah, as you know, has a lot of quality,
Yeah,
and there is opportunity. But when you get Dale here that lives in Montana, we like to kind of razz each other on what it takes to draw a tag in Utah versus what he can do as a resident of Montana.
Every single year. Yeah.
that's pretty amazing. But you also have animals out there that want to eat you.
Yeah.
There's that.
Big hairy
100%.
grizzlies.
Yeah. And wolves. And,
Yeah.
For sure. Raylan, do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, not really. Just thanks to Gabe for coming out.
Jeez.
Now I'm gonna text you, hey Gab.
You have to buy the Skidoo now.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
I'm getting made fun of over here by a 40-year-old with a frohawk.
Yeah. If you can rock it, you rock it, right?
Yes, let's say you rock it. I guess you are 13 in this business, so
Yes.
you got the teenager
There we go.
bit going. But
Yeah, I ain't quite as mature as Sloan over there. Yeah. So, but no, not a whole lot to add to it. I know there's a lot of excitement that comes with these hunts. So that officer up north, that sergeant, I've actually been texting them a little bit. He came down. They worked on his rifle, and we came down, brought him through, took him on a tour. He was blown away by the place.
Yeah.
But just yesterday, he actually texted me, and I'll have to read it because I can't quote him quite right. But Greg might get a kick out of this. They went out and shot, which I'm glad to hear.
Said he couldn't get that gun to shoot worth of crap. I don't know what they did to it.
Yeah, he said they must have been doing something funky. The scope was on backwards, and
Yeah, it happens, It happens.
I text a lot of people. There it is. He said, "Hey, tell your ballistics guy out there he's a ballistics wizard. That thing was spot on. So you can start calling Kagan a wizard.
There you go.
So if you want, we can get him a little wand.
Yeah.
That might be kind of
One of
funny.
those little hats.
Yeah.
Wear around.
No.
But no, our lab does some amazing stuff, and given the opportunity, it's awesome to see what they can do to help people, and like what you do is awesome. So I'm just excited to even be a part of it. It's just cool.
yeah, it's neat. I got to give a shout out to the Division of Wildlife and Division of Natural Resources. They don't buck an eye. They don't even think for a second about saying don't go do this. They love it, and they support me, and they say, what do you need? This is what we're about, creating opportunity for people to get into the sport of hunting that wouldn't otherwise have that opportunity. And so I'm grateful for them. It's a good outfit to work for. I appreciate them. So I brought you guys some hats.
I appreciate
Some Ecoa
that.
hats, and so
Awesome. Nice.
one
I don't
for
wanna
each.
mess up his hair or anything.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's enough gel in it. It's kind of like concrete.
You look like that guy. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a
thank
good one.
you, Gabe. Gabe,
not Gab.
not Gab.
You can call me whatever you want.
Yeah, you have to call him officer.
Officer.
We'll call him Gabe.
Yes, officer.
Just don't call me sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm not your dad.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you bringing Barnes into this. And again, I'm sure that I can kind of speak for these guys and the other guys in the plant. Anything you guys need from us, don't hesitate to call. And if you guys are listening to the podcast or watching the podcast and you want to donate, he gave you, give us that website one more time.
UtahGameWarden.com.
There we go. And then you can donate there or reach out if you know of a kid or somebody in a tough time that needs a hunt and needs that brotherhood in their life. So thanks for listening to another podcast, and appreciate your guys' time. Thanks.